All right, live on UGTV. Sorry, that's backwards. Live on YouTube, UGTV will be starting in about a minute.
Thanks, Mariah.
Live on UGTV.
All right, before I call the meeting to order, I want to announce that due to COVID-19, commissioners, staff, and the public are attending remotely via Zoom or by phone. All participants joining by phone should mute their phones when not speaking to avoid background noise. During the meeting, please make sure that you announce yourself by name and title every time you speak, so that it is observing those who is speaking. This is critical given the number of remote participants and his current guidance from the Kansas Attorney General. Now call the meeting to order. Would the clerk please call roll?
Roll call. Burrows.
Here.
Townsend. Commissioner Townsend. McKiernan.
Here.
Ramirez.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Kane. Commissioner Kane. Markley.
Here.
Walters.
Here.
Philbrook.
Here.
Bynum.
Here.
Commissioner Townsend.
Here.
Commissioner Kane.
Here.
Alvey.
Here. Thank you. Our invocation is being given by Commissioner Harold Johnson of Faith Deliverance Church of God. And we will follow with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Before I pray, can you hear me tonight?
Yes.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Eternal Father, we thank you for once again a time that we come together as commission. We invoke your presence in all that we do, specifically tonight. We pray that what we do, Lord, is ordered and pleasing to you. We pray this in your majestic name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States
of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. I'd ask the clerk, are there any revisions to tonight's agenda?
We have no revisions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. That takes us to the consent. Does any member of the commission or the county administrator wish to set aside any item on the consent agenda? If an item is not set aside, all items on the consent agenda will be voted on by one vote.
Commissioner McKiernan, move to approve all as submitted.
Ramirez,
Johnson, second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Ramirez.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. That takes us to the public hearing agenda. Item number 1, ordinance and resolution, the Yards 2 apartment and riverfront development. Item number 1 is an ordinance creating the Riverfront Development District and a resolution adopting development agreement for the Yards 2 apartments. The staff to make some opening remarks.
Thank you, Mayor. I will start this. This item came before standing committee last month. It was moved forward to set it to the full commission where we set this public hearing date. Tonight's purpose is for us to set out the project that we have in front of us that's proposed for the area with the new apartment complex. So we will be giving you information about the project. We're voting just on a district tonight. So it's important to note that whenever you do a TIF, you always go through and you establish a district, and then you come back and follow behind that with a project plan, which is much more specific to the project that we're moving forward with. However, I will note also with tonight, we have the development agreement that will be in association with the project plan. However, it is conditioned upon actually getting the project plan approved, which will come up later on this year. At this time, I'm going to turn this over to our Economic Development Director, Catherine Carter, and let her present the project. Catherine?
Hi, Catherine Carter. I'm with the Economic Development Department. Tonight, as Doug mentioned, we're going to, it's a twofold. We'll look at, there we go, an ordinance creating the Riverfront Redevelopment District, as well as a resolution adopting the development agreement for the Yards 2 apartments. So as you probably know, this area, you can see my cursor here, that we're referring to is where the old stockyards used to be. So this is kind of a unique area, as you can see from this aerial view, that this is one of the few areas in the entire riverfront, both Kansas and Missouri River, that does not have some kind of obstruction, whether it's industrial buildings, it's railroad, for basically the entirety of the time that Kansas City, Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri have been around. We've really looked at the rivers as very utilitarian. It's how we were able to do things, travel, get things up and down. And now we're noticing that there's another way that we can use the rivers as an asset. So because this was where the stockyards were, there is a bridge that brought the cattle to this location, that was the end of the road for the railroad. So this is a really unique kind of 20-acre area that is basically a greenfield in the middle of the city, which is a really exciting opportunity. So just a couple things that I want to very briefly go over in terms of riverfront development. This is a trend that we've seen across the country. It is something, as I mentioned, for most of our country's history, rivers have been all about transportation. It has not been, it has not been a way that we kind of see this as an asset, as a entertainment source. So that has all changed in recent years. I'm going to just go over 2 quick slides that kind of show how things have changed and what we're seeing in terms of investment and actual return on investment when you do invest on the riverfront. So for example, this is Chicago's riverfront, and you can see even though they have done a nice job, they clearly put some investment into it at about in the last 10 years, and that has just increased the revenues that they've seen along the riverfront substantially. People want to get out, they want to get near the river, and if we can kind of find a way that we can kind of turn that into a tourist and recreational area, that just makes the return on the investment in their surrounding areas pretty substantial. Another example, this is Pittsburgh. They have kind of really to show kind of what that return could be. So they have put a fairly substantial initial investment, and this is the city themselves, but they have seen just a 20-to-1 investment to development return, which is pretty incredible. And as you can see, they've got quite a good mixed income, mixed use, mixed everything kind of focus there. And so these are just some of the things that as we're thinking about what to do with our river, that we kind of have been looking at. So as I mentioned, this is the location on the east side of the Kansas River. I think we've got big plans, and I think you'll see more coming down the road. But this is kind of the first phase and first start. So I want to just kind of briefly show this is something that we're looking at in terms of kind of the synergies of what is going on the Missouri side. So there have been a number of apartment complexes built. One we'll talk a little more in depth tonight, as well as restaurants. And there's been, the West Bottoms has kind of had a resurgence. You have the renovated Hy-Vee Arena that brings in quite a lot of people. And then in addition to that, we also have the levee project. I think everyone is familiar with that. That's a $450 million project that we are working on, that is over the course of quite a good span of the river. But with that, we're looking at doing trails and some other betterments that will just make actually getting down to the river and enjoying what the river has to offer all the more accessible. One of the primary areas that we're looking at in terms of having a trailhead and really a location for people to gather and really, again, enjoy the river is this location. So this is, these projects are coming at a great time for us. So what you are voting on tonight is the creation of the Riverfront Redevelopment District. So this would be a TIF area. You can see it's outlined here in blue. That would include all of the livestock exchange. That's all the stockyards property. That's just over 17 acres, as well as the Rock Island Bridge that we are anticipating at some future date. There might be some development there. So all the vote tonight does is actually kind of create this boundary, kind of this district that then allows future projects to come down the road and actually utilize the TIF. So this is not just creating the TIF, is again, just creating that boundary and providing that as an opportunity for future projects to come down the road. Now, when it comes to future projects, the way that we are looking at it is we're breaking it up into 4 different project areas. Tonight, I will talk to you a little more about Project Area 1. That would be the first phase of this project, of this district. Then the remaining project areas, those are all prospective projects. At this time, nothing has been formally proposed, so we'll move forward and potentially in the future, I think in a couple of these instances, probably sooner rather than later, have a project that's specifically proposed. But again, tonight, you're only voting on the district, but I am now going to talk a little more about Project Area 1, as that has the development agreement. That's a resolution that would also be passed tonight if you so choose. That will not bind you into extending those benefits and that incentive. That will come later, as the Economic Development and Finance Committee voted earlier this week to set up a public hearing for that project plan. Is in October, I believe it's October 29th. So tonight, all you'll be hearing is, I don't know, can people hear me okay? Sorry. I might be breaking up. I apologize.
Your audio has been coming in and out, Catherine. You're kind of just breaking up a little bit, so I don't know if you're what you have going, but it's, we can hear you, but occasionally it gets weak.
Okay. I don't know where my headphones are. Well, we'll move forward and hope it gets better. lot slower maybe. Yes, so project area 1. So that is what we're looking at. What is proposed in this location is the Yards 2 apartment complex. This will be the second phase of apartments that Flaherty and Collins, developer who's done a number of projects in the area, has built. Their first phase is in the West Bottoms, just on the other side of the state line. It was just opened just within the last couple months. You can see here, market rate, really lovely amenities, very open. One of their philosophies is really trying to make it feel like you are kind of in a unique, interesting location. And with that, this is a type of apartment that we really don't have in certainly on kind of the east side of Kansas City, Kansas. So it would be a great kind of addition to what we have to offer our residents. So specifics of the project. It's just over $40 million, first class apartment, about 225 to 240 units with retail space as well on the first floor. And as I mentioned, the wonderful thing about doing development in this location is it will really complement what we're doing with the levees. So they're actually having a overlook here that would be kind of joined to the levee trails that I mentioned earlier, that would be open to the public, that would really just provide a way for people to kind of look out and access the river in a way that they haven't before. Again, as a first class apartment building, you're going to see first class unit amenities, so health and fitness center, patio space, and other amenities outdoors, in unit washer and dryer, as well as a dog park. What the development agreement lays out are the incentives requested and what we have negotiated. This really is, I think, more so, well, it has been negotiated to the point where we're really looking at exactly what that gap is, what is necessary to get this project to move forward. It would be a pay-as-you-go TIF, so no bonds, nothing, the UG would not be backing any of the debt. The public incentives, we have negotiated an $11 million cap. That would be a maximum of 23% of the total project cost. This ends up being about 100% of the increase in property taxes for the life of the term. However, some of the community benefits that really make this kind of something that we recommend and something we feel is necessary for this location is because this will stimulate additional development. What we've seen in other areas, what we've seen across the country in other riverfront developments, is you bring multifamily, and that is the kind of the first phase, and that's what catalyzes the additional development. Also, we've seen there are a number of Kansas residents who may want to live in more of the urban area, but don't actually want to cross over that state line. This is a great option, as well as an opportunity to bring people from Missouri who have not thought about living in Kansas. This is also a good option. In terms of other specific community benefit, the sales tax from the retail space, as well as the pilot revenues. And again, just another way to really leverage the Kansas River as an asset. And with that, if there are any questions, or we move on to the public hearing.
I just got to tell Rocki, for some reason, when Catherine was speaking, and it was garbled. And I unmuted, it cleared it up. I have no idea why that should happen. So I kept turning the mute on and off. But so if I leave my microphone on, you'll know why.
Catherine, we do have representatives of the developer here. Did they want to make any statements regarding the projects before we go to the public hearing? Or at least introduce them, I think, to the commission so they can all meet them. I see we have Carrie Amagoni on here as a business partner, and I don't know if Mr. Haw is on the line with her, as well as their attorney also looks like he's on the line.
Great, and I think the developer was having issues. It was asking for a password. So I don't know if he made it on or not, but yeah, so going kind of through, Ryan Kronk is the developer from Flaherty and Collins. He's one who may or may not have gotten on. Aaron March is their attorney, and then Bill Haw is the property owner, and Carrie Amagoni is a business partner with that group.
Catherine, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, Bill and I are here.
Great. Would you all like to make any comments in support of the project?
Yes, this is Bill Haw, and I think I would. I've been working with Flaherty and Collins with virtually an identical project on the Missouri side for the last 2 years. They've been perfect partners, have done everything they said they would do. I am financing a portion of the equity portion of the deal and found them to be ideal partners. I bought originally a number of acres in what was then called the West Bottoms, and which I now call the Stockyards District. And this will be the first project that we've done in Kansas. And I'm delighted to be working with Flaherty and Collins. They've been perfect partners in the first phase, and I'm sure they will be on the second phase.
Thank you.
The question is, did anybody hear that?
Yes, thank you. We did.
Yes.
We did.
Perfect.
Mayor, with
Catherine.
that, we would recommend we go to the public hearing.
Oh,
Thank you.
Catherine, this is Brian. I don't know if you can hear me, but I was going to say something as well.
yeah. So this is Ryan Kronk, the developer from Flaherty and Collins.
Yes, this is Ryan Kronk with Flaherty and Collins. And as Mr. Hall had indicated, Mr. Hall and Carrie have been fantastic partners. This is the first time we've ever done a phase 2 of a project in a different state. So this is very unique, but we're very excited to be working with the unified government. As we've indicated to Catherine and others, we definitely want to do more projects in your city. And I think this will be a great segue into doing that. And I just want to give you a quick update. We opened phase 1 during COVID, which is, we've never had to open a property like that before. And I think our first move-ins were on May 1st of this year. And we're already at 30% leased. So under the crazy scenario of trying to start leasing virtual only and all that stuff, I think we're only 2 leases behind our budget of where we wanted to be at this point in time from when we opened. So we're ecstatic. We're ecstatic to do the phase 2 in Kansas, and we're really ecstatic to see what the riverfront can become down there. And we look forward to working with you all.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing and ask if there is anyone who would like to speak in favor of this item. If so, please state your name and city of residency for the record. You will be given to 3 minutes to state your comments.
Mayor, there are no attendees with their hands up.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, did we receive any notification from the public who wish to express their opinion in favor of this item?
No notifications to the clerk's office.
Thank you. Is there anyone in opposition who would like to speak?
Mayor, there are no hands up.
Thank you. Any notification from the public by mail?
No one contacted the clerk's office in opposition.
Thank you. As there are no further comments, I will close the public hearing, and now I take questions and comments from the commission.
Commissioner McKiernan, move to approve the ordinance and resolution as submitted.
Commissioner Johnson, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call Burrows,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Kane,
Aye.
Markley. Commissioner Markley,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Philbrook,
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. The next is a resolution adopting the development agreement for the Yards 2 apartment.
Commissioner McKiernan, move to approve as submitted.
Commissioner Johnson, second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call Burrows,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Kane,
Aye.
Markley,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Philbrook,
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. We now move to the administrator's agenda, the last items for the evening. We have 4 items that will require 5 separate votes. Mr. Bach, please introduce staff.
Thank you, Mayor. We are very excited to bring before you this evening the results from our bond sale. Ms. Financian had submitted with the original agenda package about a 15-page PowerPoint for all of you to be able to look through and see the details of this. And I think she is anxiously awaiting the opportunity to come tell you about the sale that was been going on over the last day and a half. Kathleen?
Thank you, Commissioner and Mayor. We have concluded the bond sale for today, and I'm now going to talk a little bit about how the final refinancing savings took place. So this PowerPoint will show updated numbers. We're also going to talk about the credit rating reports. I want to thank our financial advisors from Baker Tilly, Dave McGilvery and Elizabeth Berkman, as well as my staff, the Deputy CFO, Debbie Johncher and Elise Villarreal, and our underwriter, which was, this was a negotiated deal, Managing Director, John Mullenberg. As you know, as you may remember, on July 16th, you all approved bond resolutions to undertake this bond financing. And on July 30th and August 4th, we presented our credit to Standard & Poor's and Moody's. We received those credit rating reports last Friday and published the preliminary official statement, or the indenture. We also held with Royal Bank of Canada the investor conference call and answered questions from potential investors. And then today was the bond sale, and we recommend your approval. The final POS will be, or final official statement will be published later this week, and we hope to close on September 17th. Before I get to the good news, we wanted to talk a little bit about our credit rating. So as you know, we did a credit rating presentation in February, and we at that time we had both of our rates affirmed. And again, now we have updated the information with information from our 2019 CAFR, as well as the projections for our amended 2020 budget and 2021 budget. And we explained to them the actions that you all supported as part of our addressing the COVID-19 revenue loss that we were estimating. And as a result, the result of those conversations with the credit rating agencies resulted in them continuing to affirm our current credit rating, which with S&P we have AA with a stable outlook. The only these are some bullet points of various credit factors and what is contained in their report. The only change really in the credit factors for Standard & Poor's was that budgetary performance was changed from strong to weak. And that's because we didn't grow our fund balance over the past few years. And then the estimated budget for 2021 both estimate a reduction in our fund balance. So that it didn't impact our outlook. And so on the next page, they made a few notes, which I want to point out. First off, of course, they understand the COVID, problem, which is impacting all of local governments. And they realize that our reserve policy has a replenishment feature. So they're looking forward to us working on a plan to replenish our reserves over the next 5 years. And, but they did say that if we don't restore our reserves within a reasonable time frame, they would consider lowering our credit rating. They also are going to continue to take a look at the potential downside risk of COVID and any kind of related recession over the next 6 to 12 months. So they're going to be watching us and to see if we can accomplish the objectives that were in our budget or exceed them. Moody's has us rated at A1 with a stable outlook, and that rating has been affirmed. One important comment here is that however, the situation surrounding the coronavirus is rapidly evolving, and long-term impacts will depend on both the severity and duration of the crisis. But in their view, the credit quality of the UG, if it changes, then they would update their opinion at that time. The credit strengths and credit challenges are very much the same as they have always been. So we were able to provide the credit rating agencies with a certain level of confidence that management and the governing body are taking this this pandemic seriously and making prudent financial management decisions. Before I go in and show the savings, I just wanted to show, illustrate the movement of interest rates over the past 5 years. And the line you want to look at is that dark black line. And so since last year or February of last year, rates have gone down significantly, and they even continue to go down in the last 3 months. So you can see they're at the 2% level for the 20-year municipal bond buyer index of the 20-year general fund general obligation bonds for a AA rating. So that's there. All right. So tonight we're gonna propose that 5 resolutions be adopted as part of this bond financing. And just as a reminder, during the July 16th meeting, resolution R4920 was adopted, and that allowed for us to issue refundings on the 2010 C, D, F, H, and 2011 A bonds, as well as it added in roughly $3.4 million in temporary notes to pay for projects that we had previously planned to pay for with cash. And then the home rule resolution R4820 allowed for us to issue temporary notes and for the acquisition and implementation of an enterprise resource planning system, both on the city and the county side. Tonight's resolution tonight's ordinance and resolution addresses the refinancing and the temporary notes. So here's the good news. So all the yellow highlights are changes from the PowerPoint that I provided as part of the packet on Monday. We're refinancing $41 million in outstanding bonds that were issued back in 2010 and 11. And the interest cost savings, which is also called the net present value benefit, ended up being $6 million over the future 10 years, or a reduction in from our current debt service of 11.7%. So back a month ago, our analysis estimated that we would be saving 4.4 million at a savings of 8.6. So the market has significantly moved to our benefit over the past 30 days. And this is quite significant. So, and by the way, the debt policy requires that if we not do refinancings unless it's more than 3%. So we're far beyond the 3%. Annual average debt service is calculated at $4.5 million compared to our current amount of $5 million. And because the maturities are a little different, the average savings is roughly $580,000 per year compared with the prior analysis, which was about $400,000 a year. There's no change in the maturity length. And one other thing we wanted to note is typically we issue bonds on a competitive basis, but because of the COVID and the impact that it had, we felt we needed to do this bond issue on a negotiated sale basis in order to be able to reach out individually with investors and communicate our story. And as a result, through our investment banking pool, we selected Royal Bank of Canada or Capital Markets, RBC, as the underwriter and the investment bank on this deal. In addition, included within the refinancing bonds is an additional 4.4 million in new money, and that is for the capital projects that had been previously budgeted in the original budget as cash funded. So, and those are going to be structured to be repaid over the first 5 years of the bond issue. Lastly, we are issuing the last two items on the agenda is for approval of two temporary notes, one for the city and one for the county. They are going to be structured on a 1 to 3 month temporary basis. They total 5.2 million, and that will pay for a portion of the $7 million Enterprise Resource Planning Solutions project. 3.3 million of it is from the City Bond and Interest Fund and 1.9 from the County Bond and Interest Fund, plus some cost of issuance. With the remaining portion of the 7 million, 1.8 from other sources. The amounts that have been, these three amounts are based on a number of full-time equivalent employees budgeted in the respective funds in order to properly allocate the cost of the project across the entire organization. And again, the return on investment for the ERP project, once it's implemented, is estimated to be $5 million a year in savings to the organization. So just a little bit of information on how much we saved in the various bond issues. These three bond issues here are the three that we are refinancing, and then as well as the additional $3.4 million in money to pay for the previous cash funded projects. And all of this money is getting lumped into one bond issue, which is the 2020B. And as you can see, the average coupon rate was roughly 5+ over this remaining years of 21 through 23 or 2030. And so by doing the refinancing, the first bond issue is saving 5.9%, the second bond issue 11.6%, and the third one 9.5%. That's the amount of annual debt service or total debt service less the amount that we're currently paying. So that's significant savings. And our true interest cost is only about 0.78%. That's how low the interest rates are right now. And so for 10 years. And just as a reminder, these are the projects that we're paying for that were previously cash funded. And those were approved already as part of the capital project authorization that was adopted on July 7th or 16th. And these, as I mentioned, these are getting rolled into the 2020B bonds. and they're going to be paid off in the first 5 years of the bonds, and their total true interest cost is 0.43%. There are also 2 more bond issues that we are refinancing. There's the 2011A and the 2010H. And the first one paid for various capital improvement projects. The second one is a tax-exempt annual appropriation bond, which paid for parking-related structures and facilities of the Sporting KC facility, the Children's Mercy Park and KC Sporting facility. And as you can see, the interest savings for these bonds were very significant, especially the 2010H bonds, which were almost 17% savings. So down below here is the amount that we're going to be paying in the future. These the 2020Ds, which is corresponding with the 2010H, is a taxable special obligation annual appropriation bond. Okay. And then lastly, the last 2 temporary note resolutions that you'll be considering is our temporary notes for the ERP Solutions project. As I mentioned, the top 3 will be coming from the city bonded interest and the county bonded interest reserve amounts. As we discussed during the budget session, there are reserves sitting in these 2 bonded interest funds that have accumulated as a result of prior financings, as well as not having spent 100% of previous bond issue bond proceeds. So that's where these funds are coming from. The other portion, 1.5 million, is from non-general fund departmental contributions. We're also considering using CARES Act to cover this 1.5 billion instead. And then as well as outstanding related projects that had some purchase orders open of 280,000. So turns out that we're gonna finance these probably for just 2 months at an interest rate of 0.5%, so approximately $5,000 in interest. And these are being privately placed temporary notes. So UMB Bank will be our investor, and they'll be buying the bonds and holding them for a month or 2, and then we'll turn around and pay them back. So that's how that works. Lastly, this is just for your information. This is how much in the city of Kansas City, Kansas general fund backed debt. This is a graph of how that looks. And just it totals $341 million, but 117 million of it is paid back from dedicated sources outside of the general fund property tax revenue base. They're paid for either by storm or sewer. All right. And then on the county side, the Wyandotte County general fund backed debt totals 58.8 million, of which 81% of it is paid for from revenue streams outside the property tax base. So tonight we ask for your approval of 5 actions, bond ordinances, and resolutions, and as well as the last 2 here, note resolutions. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I believe that our bond counsel would prefer that you vote on these separately, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to let Ken, our legal, kind of weigh in on that.
Well, this is how we have it lined out. It would be voted individually.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just, for clarification, just for my mind, because how I learn is I like to reiterate stuff back. So the 3.4 million in capital improvements is part of the, what is it? The
2020B.
Okay, so that's part of it. All right, that's where I was when I was going through the documents and information, that's where I was trying to find where that 0.4 million was going.
That's right. It's in the 2020B.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor, and to Kathleen and your staff. Again, great job in terms of finding out ways that we can streamline our finances in terms of interest rates and whatnot. I think you guys are keeping your eye on the ball, and you continue to do that, particularly during this COVID environment. Of course, everybody knows what we're dealing with. I guess, so first of all, congratulations. I think you're helping us in a great manner, and maybe the average person may not realize that, but I want to say that for the record, for those that may be watching, these are the things that may go undetected by the average citizen, but they are really saving us a tremendous amount of money. I'm going to just ask a very simple question, and that is, how does this affect the bottom line? How does this affect, and potentially how does it affect future credit ratings as relates to these types of savings that we're able to realize?
Well, first off, the bottom line is that the city and county bond and interest funds actually the city bond and interest fund, the fund balance will improve because of the savings that is achieved. And these refinancings have been structured so that the savings is pretty much all up front in the 21, 22, and 23 years. So those reserves will be growing because of the savings. And should there be any kind of unexpected declines or slower than expected growth in property tax valuations, those reserves will be there as a great leverage or safety net for our debt service going forward. So that kind of those kinds of actions are looked on very positively by the credit rating agencies. So,
and in terms of future, I mean, I understand why we have the credit ratings that we do. On the one hand, we're stable. Okay, that's good news. On the other hand, we know we're highly leveraged. We understand that we're having to dip into our cash reserves as it relates to right now. I'd imagine a lot of urban cities around the country are having to do the same thing. I'm just thinking ahead of, thinking into the future. Is there a way to dig our way out of this so that we can continue to improve our credit ratings in a COVID environment? I know that's a loaded question.
So if our property tax values continue to grow as we expect, then the reserves or the excess amount due to the savings that's sitting in the fund balance of the city and bond and interest fund can be utilized through the use of temporary notes to pay down the outstanding debt that we've issued on temporary notes. So in effect, it would diminish the amount of outstanding debt that we plan to issue in the future. So.
Thank you.
All right, I would entertain a motion for item number 1. I'm sorry, Commissioner Burrows.
Thank you, Mayor. I too wanted to thank Kathleen for the presentation, but if I may, Mayor, I would like to go back to the first couple of pages that talked about the credit ratings. There were some comments that were made by the rating organizations in reference to our sales tax, and I believe it talked about the, I felt from the very beginning we've been a little conservative on our sales tax, and having serving on the Economic Recovery Committee for the state, I do know our use taxes have really outperformed more than what the state anticipated, and our sales taxes seem to be doing well also. But it was nice to see that those comments were reinforced by the S&P and Moody's in reference to those comments being made early on during our budget process. So I'm just very pleased that the committee members of the Finance Committee are paying attention, and that staff should feel comfortable that we as a committee and we as commissioners are taking our responsibilities to heart when we look over these issues. And again, Kathleen, staff, thank you for the presentation this evening. Those savings are valuable dollars, and I hope to be able to build on that as we move forward.
I entertain a motion for item 1, ordinance and resolution authorizing issuance of general obligation refunding and improvement bonds series 2020B.
Move to approve as submitted. Ramirez.
Johnson, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Roll call, Burrows,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Kane,
Aye.
Markley,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Philbrook,
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion for item number 2, authorizing issuance of taxable general obligation refunding bonds series 2020-C.
Burrows, move for approval.
Second, Johnson.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Roll call, Burrows,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Kane,
Aye.
Markley,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Philbrook,
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
I entertain a motion authorizing issuance of taxable special obligation annual appropriation refunding bonds series 2020-D.
Burrows, move for approval.
Johnson, second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Burrows,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Kane,
Aye.
Markley,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Philbrook,
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. Now we have 2 resolutions on item 4. The first, authorizing and directing the issuance, sale, and delivery of municipal temporary notes series 2020, Roman numeral 2.
Johnson, move for approval.
Townsend, second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Burrows,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Kane,
Aye.
Markley,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Philbrook,
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. That takes us to our last motion, authorizing the issuance, sale, and delivery of municipal temporary notes series 2020, Roman numeral 3.
Johnson, move for approval.
Townsend, second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Burrows,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Kane,
Aye.
Markley,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Philbrook,
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes our meeting for the evening. We are adjourned.